be on XXS. It'll take a little bit of trouble to bring him down, but it looks like ultimately they will be able to get it.
Static Storm just doing so much work in these fights.
Yeah.
As soon as it gets whoever gets the Static Storm thrown on top of them, just they're dead. There's no way for them to save them at all. Every single time, whoever gets caught by it, either be it burning, be it OP, be it even the Abaddon, anyone just gets absolutely decimated by it.
And then the cooldown's not even that long either. The way it's going, Empire pretty much had it ready for every important fight. And with now a push down the mid lane here.
It's so hard for IG to like take the fights because they have only, their form of initiation is either the lifesteal like walks into a stun or the Sankey gets a beautiful thing. You look at Empire's lineup, they have Tornadoes coming out, they have Earth Spirit, they have Slaughter, Disruptor. There's just so many different forms for them to start the fights.
Moving Crush hit, they're looking to get Burning out fast, or at least his first life. He does go down, and he does pull out the buyback. A buyback time lapse to get right into the mix, trying to catch Empire off guard a bit. Empire see those buybacks, and they step off a bit. Now they look to go back in. Force out for Baboka. Lincoln's pop for FN. Empire throw out some shots. They'll get the racks down. Are they going to walk away with just that? Does look like it. Satisfied with that? I mean, IG had to dish out another buyback. They have to use another shrine. Empire take their business to the mid lane here.
Abaddon's still dead. They've got 50 seconds. This is their time to end the game. Let's go for those mega creeps.
Numbers move in. Nice force from Burning. Dodges the crush. Now they're looking to punish Ghostik for it. FN steps in, puts all of his attention towards OP. But now Static Storm is going to be there.
On to Burning. He can't get his BKB on.
And they turn it around. He is down and out. No buyback here. This is the opportunity for Empire to go for the finish and take this into a game number 3 as Chappie turns around and will be able to get the finish. And that's going to be game. Empire, even after what felt like a pretty devastating game number 1, hold their composure for game number 2, get themselves a much better, more comfortable draft, and take it right back to IG. And now we're going to a game 3.
This is what we all were talking about, OG newbie, super hype. This is just amazing, seeing the underdogs come back. Empire, after a very struggling game 1, being able to do that. I think their draft plays a huge testament to this one. IG picking the Weaver for Burning, but into a Disruptor, into all these different heroes that Empire already had. Just ways for them to deal with it, ways for them to catch them around globally with the Sunstrike as well. FN had a glorious game, but still Empire just very commanding in this one, very keen on it being grouped up, dictating the pace of the game, and IG just seeming like they're like, we need to respond to this, we need to respond to this, and every single time it's like they have 2 heroes, they just never really seem to have that grouped 5-man lineup.
The arena sure got a lot quieter, though, after that game. We'll have to see what things are going to happen here as IG and Empire do hit the locker room and prepare for game number 3. We'll throw things over to Paul and the panel to see their thoughts on game number 2.
Yes, thanks very much, Dakota. Yes, you're right about that. The crowd were appreciative applause, I think, polite applause for the second game, won by Team Empire. That's right, the Memesters are in with a shout of making the top 3. They're just 1 game away. We're back with our panel, Gods, Capitalist and Purge. Gods, what do you make of that? It was a good performance, wasn't it?
Good performance, much better draft. They had a clear idea. Yeah, definitely more comfortable, and I think they were had a lot better heroes just to control all stages of the game. They could scale very well to the late game with the Invoker lifestealer. They wasn't all in on this lifesteal to hit buildings. They had the Invoker scaling very well. FN had a hell of a game, but yeah, all in all, just very much more well-rounded Team Empire draft.
Yeah. Kat, we praised IG in the first game for being calm and collected when things weren't quite going their way early on. I think you could say the same for Empire in this game, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Empire definitely realized, and a lot of this is just like the luxury of knowing that you have the better late game, that you have these better scaling cores, that it's like, okay, we can play this a little bit slower if necessary. I think Empire just did what they needed to do and play this like really... like they didn't focus so much on team fights. Like they were pretty like using this lifestealer vehicle to be able to create space. I think in general it's just like they were following through with their draft. Really good, well put together drafts, and I think they knew exactly what IG was going to do. I mean, if we on the panel can predict like half the heroes that IG are going to be picking up as it comes up, you could bet your ass that Empire knows exactly what's happening.
The crucial heroes in every single fight here were pretty much always Earth Spirit. Makoshko played amazing on that, and always FN as well. And while I was in the middle of watching that game, I just imagined how different this game would have been if they didn't have Sunstrikes for all of those early games. Like, the game would have been completely different. All those important kills to get back in the game wouldn't necessarily have come there.
Yeah, I felt like Burning just could never come online. Here we are, like 22 minutes in. He's number 5 on net worth. He's meant to be the big IG player that picks up all the farm, scales well into the mid to late game. It just wasn't happening. I think the big clip was that Aegis timing. 15 minutes in, they like threw away 3 kills plus an Aegis. Burning died twice, and that's where Burning isn't really farming all that well at that point. But if they're able to move around the map, take all the objectives, starve out Empire, it's a very different game. And that was like really to me, that even though this game dragged out 40, 50 minutes, that 15-minute stage was where Empire could have lost the game very easily.
And OP on the Lina was doing work, wasn't he, at times? But there's a couple of crucial moments towards the end. I mean, probably game lost by then anyway, but died, brought back, pushed mid, was probably the furthest forward IG player on the game, and then lost his life again. And just little things like that were the difference between this game and the first game that we saw from IG.
It's tough when you're playing that role where it's like, you know, your carry isn't having a good game and is behind on farm. You feel like you have to do more because of it. And I think that's the position OP's in, where he's like, well, I got to push out these lanes extra far. I got to really be the one getting all the key kills in these fights, because Burning is having a rough time. So I think OP was just under too much pressure, and there was too much expectations of what he had to do this game.
Yeah, he was actually just like one item short of you see this team fight, it's like finally Empire have like enough tankiness that all these heroes just seem to do absolutely nothing when it comes to their right click, because Burning's under farmed, and OP as Alina, he was doing okay in net worth, but you need to be really far ahead to be able to scale into that late game. He was just one item short of all that attack speed actually meaning something.
I kind of wonder if he should have gone for a different item build. He went fast treads, he was building a diffusal, and that's when he started hitting a string of deaths. I wonder if he just did something like maybe like a Lincoln's Rush, or maybe pick up a Dragonlance first, if it would have shaved a couple more deaths off, and the whole game would have been different. But because he was already like 3rd, 4th net worth the entire game, it just meant that he didn't output enough damage and was always a threat, which means you can't farm as aggressively, you just can't pick up more items, the whole game gets harder.
Ultimately, this is the Lifestealer in action. This is what this hero does for you. It gives you tempo control, almost always, because it's a hero that is hard to gank, so it's hard to set tempo against a Lifestealer and be the ones determining, oh, this is the action we're taking next. And it's also he actually actively sets the tempo as well, and that he is able to jump in this vehicle. In this case, it was the Earth Spirit, and they're able to go and make these ganks happen. And IG just felt like they were always kind of like chasing these situations where Empire was dominating what was happening. And that's for me is like why Lifestealer, I think, is like, it's worthy of a 1-2 if you actually have second pick.
Okay, let's take a look at the scoreboard and show you exactly who got what and where. Some big numbers being put in by FN, 13-11, and likewise, we mentioned him already, OP on the Lina, 14, 7, and 4. MVP, boys?
I think it's clearly FN, in my opinion.
Yes.
I
Had
think
a great game, didn't he?
I think Moposhka played amazing. Basically, everybody on Empire played amazing in that game, in my opinion. But I think FN was definitely the top.
Yeah.
Just by far highest net worth, participating in almost every single early kill. Even if it just was a Sunstrike, he was always on time with it, well placed, and transitioned well too.
Just like EG when they had the Lifestealer Invoker, exact same kind of lineup, is that it only works if you have your mid player playing the late game actively like this Invoker did. So I think FN very clearly showed that he's got the stuff to be able to carry this team if they can push it to that situation.
All right, we're going to look ahead to game 3. Gods, IG back to the drawing board a little bit here. Did they go back to a more first game kind of draft, or do they look to maybe slightly change up the bands for game 3?
They'll definitely swap up. But I guess first pick decides a lot. It's hard to kind of predict too much until I see who has first pick. I think that's where would read a bit more into it. This game they could have first picked Lifesteal, which was maybe where the mistake was. Or first 2 picked it, because Empire grabbed Earth Spirit and then got second pick Lifesteal. So that's probably what they look at, like, well, why didn't we pick Lifesteal this game? Yeah. And they thought they had an answer for it in the Weaver, but there was 4 of the heroes that counter the Weaver. So it's like, well, Weaver's good against Lifesteal, but bad against 4 heroes. It's not going to be a good pick. So I think draft-wise is where the biggest changes will be, though. Playstyle-wise, I think IG were actually fine this game. That's the thing. I don't even think they got heavily outdrafted as much as Burning was having a rough game. They did well to win the early game and could have used that momentum to carry them forward. Sandking got a blink before the Slaughter did. So I think they look back at this game and it's more a game of missed opportunities rather than like a bad draft, even though their draft could have been perhaps changed and made better.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. I think there were a lot of situations that IGA look at it and I was just like, wow, that is a really good idea what they're doing there. Like Bobica actually taking over the farm of the lane instead of XSS, instead of like that safe lane, the bottom lane fight where they pushed into the Raxes and they killed the Lina. There was like really bad positioning, and IG recovered from that team fight like really beautifully after that mispositioning that they had. The whole entire initial team fight looked awful for them, but then they recovered really well. You could see in action that IG looked like in these glimpses like a top tier team that we've seen. It was just like they didn't connect all of it together for this game too, and Empire just had a good game. Like I think Empire just got a draft they were comfortable with and executed well.
Yeah, I think the Earth Spirit was really important as well. The fact that he was able to contribute so much during team fights made a massive difference. And his early roaming was a bit weak. There was that time where we pointed out the Earth Spirit was only level 2, wasn't able to get the Sunstrike kill. But in mid and late game team fights, he was super crucial. I would say as crucial as the Sardar was in terms of landing his spells instantly, getting good reactions, good damage output. Maybe what's left pool. I think Empire clearly got the upper hand in the draft in that last pick. So can't let the same thing happen again.
Yeah, made such a difference, didn't it? We're going to head towards our third game draft. Let's get some more social media questions. Thank you to everyone that's been putting those questions into the Reddit thread. We do appreciate your time. Is Invoker the best mid for almost every situation in 704?
Jesus. Invoker would be first pick if he was the best
For
mid
everyone,
in every
first
situation.
ban, first pick. We've seen Invoker played a lot. We've seen him played throughout the group stage in a numerous different ways, actually. Some better than others, but it seems like the very good people, like players like Sumao, who are very good on Invoker, can do some great things. We saw FN just then as well.
I think a lot of times you want a certain amount of versatility to your lineup, and I think Invoker, I'm going to make a strange comparison here, but I think it's very similar to what the Naga Siren gives you, in that it does offer you a certain amount of split push opportunities, not nearly the same as Naga, of course, but then it also offers you really good team fight potential. And then the added bonus of being able to have this Sunstrike, making your early tempo a lot more powerful and like make the Earth Spirit feel a lot better about his rotations. I think there are certain lineups that are really incentivized in ganking a lot more because you have an Invoker in your lineup.
I think the question's like, Dota is a game where it's very complex. There's no hero that works for every situation. That's just the nature of the game.
Unfortunately, because if it was like that, it'd be a lot easier to play.
Yeah, the kind of heroes that maybe used to work in every situation were hero like Jug. Like you can always pick a Jug first. You know, it's it works in any draft. It works against any draft. There are some heroes which are great in every single game, not necessarily OP, but always reliable, always good. I wouldn't put Invoker in that category.
Would you put Lina in that category in this current meta? It's got to be close, isn't it?
Not sold that it's like I guess it's Lina, yes, because you can run multiple roles.
Exactly.
You can put in support.
Yeah.
So a lot of those heroes that can go core or support have always been very highly valued.
I can't think of too many other mids that rival like Invoker, Lina, SF, that rival the versatility that they provide in both late game as well as team fight. So I feel like, there's a couple other heroes that kind of rival it, but I would somewhat agree where he's leading into, which is like it does fill so many situations, so it does feel pretty good for 7.0.
Okay. We are heading into the draft then. As you can see, we've got a Meepo ban once again for IG, and same ban again for Empire. Are we headed the same way, Purge, here? Looks likely, doesn't it?
Depends on first pick. The sides
IG
have
first
swapped.
pick, so
Okay.
I mean, what happened in Game 1 draft was IG now banned Monkey King, and that means Empire banned Earth Spirit. But if IG don't ban it, then probably neither gets banned, because if you're Empire, you're like, we'll only give them one if we're getting one.
Yeah.
If they ban one, then you ban the other.
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty good grab for Empire, though, if they can do a trade plus get a first-round pick.
Okay,
If
so they
they
have
do
gone for
that
the Monkey.
swap,
So
does
they went
IG get
Earth Spirit.
Magnus?
They went Earth Spirit last time, didn't they?
Yeah.
Empire first.
Do you get Lifestealer or Magnus? Is there another hero? Like, do you get Lina first?
I think they're happy with Magnus, because you can do like the Magnus Jug.
I agree.
which is
And they're
being,
probably better off not banning Earth Spirit this time round, because then they'd get one or the other, don't they?
Yeah, see, they ban away the Magnus.
Okay.
They knew it was
so now they're
going to
get one or the other, which is quite good for them, I guess.
it's kind of like a swap of, they take
Oh,
Lifesteal
wow,
over
okay.
Earth Spirit.
So you'd imagine then Empire go Earth Spirit straight away here.
They should do, and this is probably IG saying, why didn't we just take Lifesteal last game?
Yeah.
We gave them Earth Spirit, we could have first staged the Lifesteal, and we didn't. So they'll make sure they get the Lifesteal themselves. They can always play the Slatter in the full position role for Baboka. It's such a good combo with Lifestealer. I mean, nothing new, nothing fancy, but Slatter, Lifestealer, it wins games.
So if the Earth Spirit is one of these two, which we'd assume it is, Where do they go for the second one? Do they go Alina?
I'm kind of wondering if they even grab the Invoker in the first round here. It's maybe a little early, but as we just discussed, covers 90% of mid situations.
Very
so
successful on FN in the last game.
And I feel like it'll get banned second round for sure.
I feel like Slider Lifesteal is one of the situations you don't want Invoker though.
And there's also the IG Nyx Assassin that is quite good against the early Invoker pickup. But I can kind of see where you're going, Kevin, just because I do feel like, you know, it's game 3. You want a hero that you know you're going to be successful with. And like Invoker does fit that for you in the same way that IG are going to be very happy with their Lifestealer pickup. Lifestealer, I think, is a little bit more meta in the first pick area.
Do you think going a Spirit Invoker to start with, and they haven't anyway, so the kind of question is pointless, we're going to go Troll?
I'm kind of surprised by that just because they do have so many counters to the Lifestealer in their repertoire. Like their whole entire what Chappie plays is like all kind of Lifestealer or Lifestealer counters.
I think it's fine for them though. I mean, they've been drafting this pretty routinely. This still gives them the possibility of putting it in the safe lane. Doesn't have to go mid like FN has been normally playing. It's a decent opener. It doesn't necessarily reveal a stupid amount. It can be reliable against Lifesteal. I think
that's the downside to picking the Invoker earlier, is that you kind of give him IG the lay of the land, haven't you?
Yeah, they can get the hero counters that they need to actually deal with them well. They didn't have the best last game. It was pretty much what Weaver.
Interesting. IG go for the TA ban.
Yeah, I was about to say they've been mostly running Troll mid, so it's kind of interesting that IG are choosing to ban.
I think they're just worried about the right-click heroes that could deal with this the best. Because even though they did lose their TA game, she definitely was difficult to kill. You know, one refraction charge will sometimes buy you enough time for kind of a Lifestealer bomb to not actually get a kill in time. So I could see it working. So probably more disable follow-up here for Empire. Ooh, the half and half.
They could just go back for the Ghostic Centaur, but we've seen that hero get kind of ripped apart by the Slider Lifesteal. Not that there's many offlaners other than like what, Abaddon that can survive that combo.
Maybe they'll, if IG don't ban it here, the Bat Rider.
That's true. I like Bat Rider. That's been banned, I think, both game 1 and 2 in the second stage. Yeah, that's like the right kind of approach, I think, against Slider Lifesteal, saying a bit more elusive, can split push, can just find a pick very easily and quickly. Get the jump them before they jump you, really. That's the philosophy.
I don't think IG, I personally don't think that IG we're going to pick up Lina this game. I think they really want to make sure that they have a scaling mid with this Lifestealer pickup.
I was really surprised to see it look weak for the first time. Like her right click was solid in the end of the game, but it wasn't amazing. She was having trouble killing Lifestealer and other heroes.
But
yeah, she's really
got to
be far ahead.
We've seen that she has been effective has been in those Monkey King Lina games, isn't it?
She's definitely much more of an early to mid game dominant hero, and we have in these professional games have not really put her to the test in our late game. But again, I think our late game is more dependent on being ahead, because you really do need to make that transition into like that fourth or fifth big item that gives you damage. And Arlena was just sitting on like Crystallis, I think, still.
So Outcast gone. Relatively predictable with that.
You know, another thing I really like about the Troll is it kind of protects slightly against the Silencer pick that IG might go for. So it's a pretty fast BKB hero. Doesn't really need to cast spells to do damage. Doesn't even need to remove Silence half the time to do damage. So, but maybe something IG's still thinking about.
There are a lot more mids that I'm happier with for Team Empire as like a fourth pickup than I am safe laners. Even though the fact that team, I mean that like Invoker, SF, like those kind of heroes I would still be very happy with for Team
Team Empire is 19 more control, more control.
Yeah.
I don't feel.
Why not PA?
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking SD, but Venge is definitely way better. Synergizes really well. Troll, swap whoever gets jumped on.
It does. It does make the silencer a lot better for IG.
It's true.
Incentivizes that pick.
Helps Empire Roche as well if needed. So.
Yeah. If only you had an ogre instead of an Earth Spirit.
Yeah. Medusa's definitely a hero I feel like is underpicked against these Slider lifestealers. Outside of like Team NP, we're not seeing it much.
All right, well, there goes that idea, guys. Abort. Yeah. Coddle's on the board.
Yeah, that's actually, there's a lot of things that can ruin Medusa's day.
Yeah.
No, you gotta go that Lotus Orb Medusa build. That's what Envy did.
The Blade Mail Lotus Orb.
Yeah.
Man, I was casting that one. I really tried to give Envy as much like openness and ideas because occasionally he does come up with. And you could see what he was doing. You could see what he was doing. It was just.
The Blade Mail seems fine. The Lotus Orb, it's expensive.
Yeah, every time I buy that, I'm like, I just spent 4,000 gold to not use this at the right time in that team fight because I'm bad. It's like, why do I always buy this item?
Are you saying Envy's bad?
No,
Kevin?
it just really fails me, and then I'm like, this is 4,000 gold.
Yeah, that again.
They're
just Troll.
Stacking heroes that don't die to Slider, Lifestealer, stat-heavy heroes. Like, they just want to not die to that combo.
And you can remove off mana leak, amp damage. Solves a lot of those issues. Nobody has to buy Lotus Orb now.
There we go.
Are we really liking Team Empire's lineup again?
I'm liking it. It's kind of cool.
It's like we haven't seen, to me, like IG's mid pulls it together. Like they need some
for
good
sure.
scaling mid, but some of the better ones that we've seen for OP have been taken out.
So what do you think their mid's going to be? Something tower hitter? Well, I guess Lifestealer can do it, but I feel like something like an SF could work.
Yeah, SF. I always like SF Lifestealer with the minus armor.
I didn't ban the Terrorblade this time either. SF is a little like I like the SF, but I feel like SF is also still a little like he's quite susceptible to troll. I think in that regard, that he's.
I was just thinking Storm.
You need a very mobile hero.
Yeah, Cuddle Storm. They got the Cuddle, so
that's very nice.
They had weak disable on Empire, so except for the whole Earth Spirit thing. So
it's also a hero.
Except for everything that Earth Spirit is. What an annoying 4-position hero.
A hero more associated with OP. Like I don't think I've seen OP play SF, where I see him play the Storm quite a lot. So.
Yeah.
He's normally playing the like more magic damage mid heroes, whereas Burning will play the right clickers.
Gives a Lifestealer 2 bombs too. That part's pretty nice.
Yep.
As soon as he hits 6, they can do a quick rotation somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they really should grab the silencer if they could get it, but no. So.
Do you feel like they should have picked that silencer up? It was an earlier call on that, and they should have picked that up.
I think Empire just protected their draft so much against the silencer. Like I think that's why they opened with Troll. It was like fast BKB core. They got Venge, who could maybe do core, maybe support. Like I think they just protected themselves the whole time, and it still would be a pain to deal with, but they could definitely work around it with the heroes ahead.
In theory, IG could have gotten Silencer Storm if they really wanted it, rather than the Coddle.
Yeah.
I think they had to pick the Storm, or that gets banned.
But then other times you're playing Silencer against Troll, and you're like, why am I this hero right now? This feels so worthless.
The Coddle seems like it's going to offer more utility.
So do you pick up a? Do you want to run the Venge core, which I'm kind of feeling like is out of the meta?
So. I think you need something way better scaling.
But the funny thing is, if you run the Venge core, you would get yourself a last pick that deals better with Storm Spirit.
rather than a different safe laner.
Bust out the last big anti-mage against
Yeah.
Slider Lifesteal. Hey, you could with swap save and shields. Like, it's not out of the question.
He's
but
got troll ulti to work off of.
it's not great. I wouldn't be like shocked by it. But
Whoa.
Oh, hello.
that's a bit more shocking.
That is shocking.
So where has that Winter Wyvern come from?
Well, it's Venge plus Troll Warlord means they can kill each other very easily. So the Winter Wyvern ult is good. They're definitely, most of their damage right now looks to be right-click based, so they can save people.
I don't think there are too many other heroes besides like a more right-click, single target right-clickers like Weaver that Team Empire could pick up here.
Yeah.
I think that's why they banned the Slark also, because Slark would take advantage of what Wyvern brings.
And that kind of gives them that solution.
Okay.
So different type of damage. They've got 2 types of heals now between Abaddon and Necrophos. They can kill people that are low regardless of Cold Embrace. I kind of like the pick a lot.
Is it going to be at a Storm Spirit though? Are they going to be able to 5-man? They do have really good ball with Abaddon, Necrophos, Troll, but are they going to be able to break that high ground against IG with the Storm?
And I feel like Empire, we haven't seen them play fast. Both game 1 and 2, IG were the team who kind of took the initiative first. Even game 2, Empire going to win, but that's through their late game play. First 15 minutes was dominated by IG, so I'm not too confident in Empire's ability to play like the early to mid game in Death Ball, but it's still, I think, a solid draft from them.
Yeah, I actually like their draft a lot.
Any takers for Empire to win?
I'm going to go with it. I like the Necro.
Okay.
If you can press Ghost Shroud at the right time,
He won't
game's
get
over.
a chance to. Slider Lifesteal. Burning Lifesteal, I gotta stick
But
with
they got
IG.
swapped to back him up.
Yeah.
So even if he's
will
late,
also,
He'll
I will
die
also
before the
stick with
swap.
IG. I stick with history, and I've seen what IG have done, and I've seen what Empire have done. They haven't proved to me that they can play a super fast pace, nor have most other teams at this tournament.
No,
It
true.
seems like the meta isn't played well into it.
Yeah.
You have a very minor window to work with when you're the faster team that tries to go mid-game.
All right. Great stuff as ever from our 3 panel members. We'll get more from all 3 of them after the game. It's time now to head back to our commentators. Dakota, it's all yours.
Thank you, Paul. Here with Fogged, of course, as we are courtside ready for game number 3. It all comes down to this, man. One team moves on to top 3. One team has to go down to the scary best of 1 gauntlet lower bracket. It's going to be a tough one. But
Who would think we'd see Slaughter Lifesteal at all 3 games?
Slaughter Lifesteal all 3 games, and then a fun little Necrophos pick for our 3rd one here. We did, of course, have an intriguing little pub yesterday with Necrophos. What do you think about his potential here? Now going to be in the competitive matchup. Do you think this is the ticket for Empire to move on against IG, or do you think that they're going to be trying something out here?
I like Empire's approach. I'm still probably going to lean on IG's lineup because Slaughter Lifestealer just is so dominant, at least in this series so far, and they've been executing it and just running just so aggressively just in that factor, and it's just so mobile. That's the thing that IG's lineup has. They're super mobile with the Slaughter, with the Storm. The Coddle's going to be able to bring them around. The Winter Wyvern, this is a Q specialty. He loves this hero. You might actually be seeing a little bit of a switch up of who's playing it, but either way, it doesn't matter. We look at so the Necrophos. So I like the way that the approach is doing because now they have, like the panel was mentioning, lots of different saves for the Slaughter Lifestealer bomb. If he does go in, if he's able to get the Ghost Shroud off, he's able to negate that. They have a lot of different heals. The swap as well, being able to save somebody. We'll see, like the sustain as well. We'll see how it ends up working out. It's an interesting approach toward dealing with this Slaughter Lifestealer.
Yeah, I'm curious the scale availability or how well a scaling Chappie Necrophos is going to go. I'd hate for it to be too much on the shoulders of just the Troll, but we'll have to see how things pan out. Towards the bottom lane they go between him and King R. Already a D port had been committed, and it does look like they are going to get a nice early D ward too. So good advantage for them at the start, and dual lanes seem to be the case here for IG.
Surprised to see that it's Baboka playing the Wyvern. They do, Q is playing the Coddle. He usually plays the 5 hero, so they want the Wyvern to be able to scale a bit more, I guess, in this lineup.
We've seen like action-packed kind of Wyverns, maybe way back TI5 qualifier Navi, so Nico Wyvern fogged. Like that was okay, I'll just kind of get the most out of my Arctic Burns and zone back and be a bit proactive. But speaking of proactive activity, mid lane Maposhka, unfortunately not going to get the connection on the first rolling boulder of the game, but he is doing his best to zone back fellow Spirit OP.
Yeah, the Wyvern, like they mentioned on the panel as well, there's a lot of physical damage coming out for Empire's side, so they were going for that. And then the Necro last pick is kind of like that balance for it to just be able to kill somebody through. And the Winter's Curse also to be able to set up versus Troll. I mean, if anybody's sitting next to each other, you can blow them up almost instantly with Troll and Venge Aura coming out.
Wyvern's also typically a good Glimmer candidate, and that could be nice to have against the Necro.
A lot of different things. Glimmer candidate, he can set up for good like crush combinations as well with a nice curse.
Definitely intrigued to see that value begin to come to fruition.
I like that Empire adjusted as well with the Necrophos, not only for the Wyvern, but versus the Coddle. Blinding Light is immensely powerful. When you at least have like another spell damage thing on top of it, you're at least able to counter that.
And he's normally like stand, plant, and kind of fight, so even if he's hit with a Mana Leak, it's not like he's trying to run and chase down. He's not the fastest old guy. He's there for the long-winded fights.
Yeah, and it gives them that push potential. You know, if they do get that 5-man group lineup, if they come out of the lanes ahead and they have Necro, Abaddon, Venge, and like Troll just running at your towers, they have so much sustain. Chappie getting some pressure on the blast is a bit off the mark here, though.
That's why I love playing Coddle in the off-lane setup. I know normally we've been seeing a lot of people like keep him towards the safe lane as a babysitter, or even just straight up go greedy in the jungle. But here, can obviously pressure opposing safe laners with the blast. Mana Leak, if he favors getting early, could be a bit of a headache. And also he can blast down those side camps and pull aggro easy too. Here he gets a nice D ward, so vision going to be taken away from both sides down here. Good eat.
Double regen. Since he only has one, just a couple tangos. Top Ghost Stick gonna get some pressure on him. Shield is on cooldown. He is getting pressured pretty hard, but Burning is also with all those creeps on him with the Curse of Avernus. He's able to. He must back up.
Boboka shows himself with that Arctic Burn, but now he'll have to wait what feels like another eternity before he can even dish out another one.
This could be where OP goes down.
Okay, now OP hanging behind the tower quite a bit, but as you see, Earth Spirit was also flirting there a bit, but no easy opportunities on that front. Looks like he may just take his business elsewhere. Slardar down here in the bottom lane, a bit lonesome as Coddle is going to be taking his business elsewhere, it would appear, at least making some stacks on the side. So we'll see if Slardar does overextend himself down here in the bottom lane a bit and get punished. But it does look like King R is doing a nice job keeping him zoned back.
I think Q's just going to farm a bit in the jungle.
Kind of like what we saw from Faith in that one game, you know. The earlier you get your Ags, why not, right?
Doesn't want to have to be like, doesn't want to sit top, doesn't want to split tri-lane experience. He doesn't want to sit bottom to sit sap experience from the Slaughter either. So jungling is perfectly fine for him here, stacking a little bit for OP and for Slaughter.
Now, the Troll Storm lane, not one we see every day, but Troll certainly having a pretty damn good start. 22 with 7 denies to the 13-1 of OP. Does this begin to change a bit, though, as the levels come online, obviously, for the Storm? We know, of course, he gets a surprised ulti. He becomes damn near hard to gank, but does the 1v1 get any easier, or is this like Troll through and through?
Well, the Earth Spirit started there, so that's why he has like a bit of an advantage. So the advantage is going to have him coming out ahead, but it's like a little bit, maybe a little bit Storm favored. But you don't get vision from the axes, and Storm's at least able to push the lane in constantly, just a bit better than Troll Warlord is able to, since Troll has like a high cooldown on his ultimate or on his nuke, while Storm can just spam a couple of remnants, push it in, and go for the runes.
We saw Mimoshka there able to kind of go deep and take the enemy bounty rune away. In the meantime, XXS will be able to get the creep wave under his tower to work with. As Coddle heads back to farm, they had that ward planted there, and they could rotate in for the old man right now and take him out. But they're hoping for a lead-in roll, or just a lead-in easy magic missile. Wave, rolling boulder. That should be your first blood. Easy setup, and that ward will pay off. And it's going to be Empire striking first.
Good first rotation, recognizing the Coddle wasn't on the map or anything, and the ward that they had down, able to see him. Easy setup for them.
Now they surround and pressure the bottom lane, and XXS could quickly find no home for himself as he rolls in. You're going to see a rotation now come out. Baboka helps out with the cold embrace. King R
blocks the way, and he puts a TP. Oh man.
Face first
nice
with the tree. There. He can't believe it. And they're even going to commit an Arctic Burn just to fly over the trees and make sure he's not there. And
that was a nice little branch play. Good thing he had a TP there. He actually had a Clarity running too, so he got just enough mana to be able to TP out there.
An effort there to move in and get the grab for the Slardar. And it looks like as Storm steps off to work with the jungle, they'll hand over Q to the lane, but obviously FN going to be super satisfied with that.
Just feeling like he got punished a little bit in the laning phase, and then just the risk of being roamed on from the Earth Spirit and the Venge. Rather just go to the jungle, give the Coddle the lane. It's just the safer move.
Speaking of handing over lanes, it does look like Burning has had the top lane pretty much to himself. 39 and 11 CS, while Abaddon has been kind of working with the jungle. Not really an easy matchup to kind of, go melee on melee with. So he'll find his own farm on the side, but this is a good head start for Burning.
OP now's got his level 6. Probably just going to see him go to the jungle again still anyway, but...
They have to then begin to share the top half of the map because the bottom is still being overrun by Empire members here. In fact,
they know that Empire is going for this, so they pinged them out because they saw them rotating with the ward.
Do they want to rotate anyone in? I don't think so. Get out of here.
It looks like they knew that. They were even pinging it out, like indicating that they knew that was coming. I just that they didn't probably have any TPs to be able to save him. Not expecting him to get bursted down so quickly, but Necro being 6.
Baboka has to return. He was just floating around heading to the top lane, but he might have to kind of stick down here now. This is getting a bit out of control for Empire here in the bottom half of the map. Q's going to blast his way through this mid lane as much as possible. You hear the sound of the troll farming his way through the jungle. Probably going to be handing over that mid lane, I imagine, to some sort of support, but it does look like Earth Spirit's kind of heading back to the mid lane before making a new attack elsewhere. But that one has been pretty much all jungle, so a total respect of passive farm, at least at the start for now. At least until the return of Miposhka. Here comes XXS. Ooh, magic missile to the face will stop.
Chappie getting some pressure on him, though.
Man, Chappie gets hit hard. And then he gets healed up by popping off 2 spells. It's a deceptive thing, and that's something like when I said, like, I don't even personally feel like I know Necrophos through and through yet, and if you don't, you get in situations like that where you're diving onto him and you think you got an easy kill, and then he pops off that ridiculous, like, decrep form and heal, and he just gets all of his life back, and suddenly you're sent back into the next dimension under a Reaper sight.
Mid lane,
deep commitment, going for the coddle, and they connect him with Rolling Boulder with the Boulder Smash. The finish is going to be there from Miposhka. Rotations in, though, from IG. And it is going to be OP, able to get the snag on Miposhka on the other end.
Yeah, the whole thing about like the Necro is just like he works so well with items. The items are just like amazing because like if you get a stick charge while you're ghost shotted up, it gets amplified as well. Let's say you have a mech, not sure if he'll go for it this game, but if you do have any type of extra healing factors, it just amplifies it so much that you can just turn fights into a good margin. And since they're versus the Slaughter, Lifestealer, heavy physical damage, if he does get that ghost trap off, it completely nullifies the initiation.
Looked like he went the Midas too, so it's a greedy Necro on this one.
Wants to be able to scale since it's a troll lineup, and he doesn't really, like, what does Necro really gain from a troll ulti? Pretty much nothing, so he wants to be able to scale into the later stages game because you already know that they're playing versus Storm, Lifestealer. Like, this game is going to definitely go to the later stages, and that's just the way that Dota is being played right now. It's not really, we have to break the high ground in 25, 30 minutes. You have to just take it later on because you have to be a bit greedy.
But if they're playing it greedy and slow, as we see a smoke now develop here from Empire, making their first attempted move all the way over to Burning, possibly, or maybe trying to catch up the Storm. Either way, I feel like that could slow down the role of Empire trying to push for objectives, which they did struggle with in the first game. Now,
as long as the supports are moving,
OP has been spotted. They'll roll right in for him. And that man has been seriously mugged, but no, he's able to get the jump and out. Not enough lockdown. Level 3, no grip leveled yet. Obviously makes it a bit more difficult there for Empire.
Yeah, I like what they're doing though. They're keeping the aggression. Like you said, they don't want to get stagnated in this point where it's like, oh, we're playing greedy, we're not making stuff happen on the map. Keep these supports running around the map, keep them having everything. Even Ghostic was getting involved in that one, which was a bit surprising.
Yeah, he had been obviously far from his lane, now making a return to mostly kind of wiggling his way through the jungle and keeping off the radar. Now just get back to the opposing lane of Burning, who still kind of sits at the top, I imagine, both CS and net worth. Just kind of one of those things you'll eventually have to deal with. Empire will look to elsewhere, though. Blast continue to fly out as they keep Empire's mid lane push at bay a bit.
So OP's just, still just farming. Everybody's just content with still farming for a bit, waiting for those first few item timings that we tend to see. The armlet coming out for Lifesteal will probably be the big one when Burning just makes that, that rotation, the Burning rotation that we've been seeing every single time. TP to the bottom lane, pressure the tower. We'll see if he does it actually any second now. I think he actually might. Looks like he's going to the side shop, picking up the armlet at least. Yeah, actually, we tend to see him usually pressure his safe lane tower first, right? And then he makes the move to the enemy safe lane. But we'll see, maybe this rushes it.
Lead in roll. Cold Embrace going to help not get the finish there, and they couldn't get it done. It's going to be Miposhka going down first. This is an Empire lead in gank, and they can't get a grab yet. Now with the Spirit form coming out from the Coddle, who reached level 6, he blinding lights them back, and that gank will be thwharted.
Ghostic even TP's bottom to try to help. So now this is the opportunity where Burning gets to pressure that top tower, as we were mentioning.
And delicious farm from Burning here.
It looked like he had the option there. He was like, I can TP bottom probably, and we might be able to get a follow-up kill on tower eventually, but I'd rather just get this tower. That's what Burning likes to do. He likes to claim his safe tower, then make the move to the enemy side. So I want to see that coming out any second. And we do see Miposhka in position to try to put a little pressure, but it's a lifestealer. And it's a Burning lifestealer.
Yeah. Miposhka alone just looking to leech some XP for himself, or at least awaiting the approach from Ghostic, but even them two won't have anything to save with Burning.
Here we go.
Now Burning to the bottom lane. Here we go. That tier 1's done. Let's get the next tier 1. This is typical IG now. And the pressure on Empire to kind of, expect it coming. And
the big concern is that they're closing a little bit of map control, a good amount of map control here, and this tower bottom is pretty much going to be XXS's Blink Dagger, and that's when the acceleration just happens.
Blink,
it's pretty much, is
crush,
Empire in the right position?
Ooh. Yeah, it's bad. But they get what they need. Empire have taken the opportunity, though, to kind of invade IG's territory a bit, get a couple of deep wards down.
This mirror movement that we tend to see.
Yep. But it's more like IG mirror to the bottom lane to take a tower, and Empire kind of deal with it at the top. I don't see Empire really able to kind of push on forward and easily secure the tower, though they are pressuring it now. Curious to see if IG want to do something about it or not.
XXS, I think, actually missed the last hit on the tower there. I think him and Burning were trying to go for it, so he's just shy of that Blink Dagger, but he's going to have it any moment now. Tier 1 are going to drop, but IG not going to react. Yeah. They're going to play their own game. I think this is the better thing for them to do. Trade, go for that mid tower now.
Yeah, just avoiding the fight altogether and going for their own easy bread of a tower here in the mid lane.
You look at IG's lineup, they have more of we've been seeing it like time and time again, not every single game, but the team with like the heavy initiators, the multiple forms of initiation, tends to be able to come out ahead in a lot of these fights. You look at their lineup, they have those multiple forms of initiation, while Empire, theirs is more like they just need to be this like death ball, this unit, rather than like going for like these solo pickoffs with like this Earth Spirit setting everything up.
But death ball in this meta, I don't know, gathering under tower really helps the armor of the opponents and stuff. Like, it's just not that kind of game anymore. But we'll see. Maybe rallying behind the power of the Necrophos, it could be good enough. We see Miposhka here avoiding some trouble in the bottom lane, able to get off a nice two-man stun and grip. Will allow him to make it away. But you can already feel IG happy to kind of push in for pickoffs where available. Straight to the Bloodstone here for OP. As he gets closer to finishing out the Soul Booster, we see FN here nearby, roaring his way up into Ayasha now.
Yep, all the meanwhile, our little Keeper of the Light just hiding under the radar. Nobody really knows who's... Oh, look at this. He's halfway to an Aghanims.
That's what you do, man. Tranquils, and then, of course, you got to get all the move speed you can. A couple of TP scrolls, and then Aghs. Aghs wards gem.
He's going to have it very early, and that's going to increase the mobility, and it's going to increase the pressure onto Empire, too, because they're going to be able to pull the Storm to one side of the map, TP the Slaughter to another, and just constantly be able to make moves all over the place. And Empire's lineup is a bit... Their mobility is lacking because they have a Death Necro, and this is just going to be pickups that are going to happen every single time there's a ward, every single time they see these opportunities. It's going to be happening. It's a very immobile lineup that Empire kind of did draft right now.
Condolences to Miposhka there and his family, but he is gone. Game now 3-3, but it certainly feels a bit more heavy-handed at the moment, at least for IG. After taking that sweet narrow pick, we see Empire pressuring the mid lane as much as possible.
It's like they picked this Wyvern, it seems like obviously for the troll and everything for the physical damage, but also defend the tier 1s. Just defend tier 1s. If we're able to do that and we get map control across the board, that's when the Storm, the Lifestealer, the Slaughter just can go running around every single time and find these pickoffs, because you force a lane in, somebody's going to get caught every single time you force those lanes in from IG.
And Empire just have to be at risk of watching their positioning. You'd hate for that Wyvern to be using Troll as his greatest weapon against you. So they do split apart and look to attend to mid lane.
And he's going for the Solar Crest build, which we have been seeing much more common on the Wyvern. We did see it used to get picked up, and then it got rebuffed. So now it's going to be picked up, and they're dire, and they have Slaughter, so it all synergizes really well, and especially with the Winter's Curse. If you Solar Crest somebody in the middle of a Winter's Curse, their allies are pretty much going to kill them very quickly.
Nice build up here for IG. Empire continuing to grind away in the farm, but they continue to get hit here. A jump in now, looking for Chappie. Toss out the Decrep. Here comes assistant Ghost Chick trying to be the paramedic, but he's not going to be able to assist him. Chappie going down. A hard hit for Empire here as not even their own jungle is feeling safe.
That's going to be
out possible wards. They're going to have to get in there and try to debunk the vision, but there actually is no vision there for IG. They're just happy to cross the river and keep tabs.
It's them making all the aggressive moves. Empire can't really make. Speaking of aggression, Empire now goes for one of their first moves.
Let's see how it goes. Swap back to set up a magic missile. Can they finally bring down the Wyvern? Yes, they can. It takes 3 of them and a lot of skill power, but they will finally get him down. And now looking for a follow-up on the tier 1, but he's one of the best tower defenders in the game. Blinding Light fends him off. A blast takes out the wave.
Wyvern's going to be up soon too. The Blink Slaughter with an Infest. Storm Spirit already has his Bloodstone. They have Desolator online. This could be very scary right now for Empire. And yeah, before it even happens, they have to split up again. And now this is where it's going to be IG coming at him again. The mobility that we're talking about. Empire's forced to kind of move around the map, and that's when they're just open to getting ganked. It's just gonna happen. One of them is gonna get picked off here. And here we go. Coming in, it's gonna be Miposhka. Just get brought down in an instant. They're going for 2 though. King R going into OP with the Bloodstones, leading up the charge.
Empire want to try to fight this one off, but they've already been hit so hard. That side not gonna do so much.
Oh my god.
FN just shreds right through the Necrophos. Oh my. Q happy about that one. Ghost Chick force back. IG.
That's a
fight.
Was that a Baboka? That was Baboka's solo kill, right? With the curse on the.
Yep.
With the amplified, with the corrosive haze on top of a medallion. Necro just gets destroyed by FN.
FN's like, I can't stand near anyone on my team, or I may be at risk of taking them out. With that kind of power.
The mobility just every single time.
Yep.
Empire's going to split up. IG's going to get a catch or 2.
I mean, that was just Empire denying the tower and hoping that they were going to walk away from the lane.
Yep.
But the chase from IG is just out of control here.
And those were Bloodstone charges. So that's 2 Bloodstone charges going for OP.
Ooh. All right. IG, you got to be feeling pretty good. Back to the lanes and farm they go, claiming another couple of lives. Empire hanging, though, with the farm. Troll works his way from camp to camp. And keeps them at the top here for now, but just Empire as a whole don't nearly bring as much fighting power at the moment. Necrov is a great hero, but it really does depend on those items and depends on that build-up. And we've seen him go down twice straight.
He's so immobile,
He's just going to be prolonged
really
that much further. Yeah, he needs to have the Abaddon near him. He needs to have that swap nearby to bail him out.
He went for like an early Blink Dagger build, which is, I mean, I feel like he kind of needs it in this game, but just unable to really be able to get around the map just because of how much faster IG is with their heroes. IG, again, forcing engagement. They try to force something on the Abaddon. He pops his ult. 3 TP reaction from Empire. IG just runs away and resets it.
Just manipulating Empire in this game. And Empire, unfortunately, looking closer to game number 1 than what we saw from them in the previous, where they were able to kind of dictate things from here moving forward. They smoke, though, and they might actually catch some IG members in the river. Nice quick grip, swap back. They will give a forgiving pick on XXS here.
Yeah, nice little kill. They might be able to actually go for the Roche here. They do have the Terror on cooldown here, and there is going to be Blinding Lights and Kato Blast and Wyvern coming in. Let's see if IG is able to make it in time. It looks like they should be able to. They've got Aghanims. It's daytime as well.
Oh
this could be a disaster for Empire.
Already bumps FN out of the pit. That means Ghost Chick has to solo the Roche for now. FN, does he really want to waddle back in there? He does. A new blast is going out. He's trying to go for the finish. They hit him with a mana leak. A new blast flies through. He just pops to borrow time. They give him a new shield. They're looking to go for the finish. He pops out the ulti. He's looking to burst him down. Can he get it done? They blast him back.
Bermain gets the Aegis, and he gets the last hit.
Sneaks in and gets the last hit and the extra life. Look at Chappie. He stuck on the high ground.
Blinding Lighted on the high ground, I believe.
And OP goes in right up there to get the finish. IG all day here.
I don't think that they can go for that move. When you're playing versus Kato, Kato just got his Aghanims. It's daytime. That's like IG's move to just go in. Burning even gets the last hit on the Roche, gets the Aegis as well. Oh, man.
That wonderful timing. I mean, obviously most of the attention of that Blinding Light was to bump him back as the Roche died, but the convenience of happening to bump what looked like the Necrophos to the high ground, making that Ags feel so clutch already.
That was a sick play by Q. It looked like that one was almost planned to push him up there even. We're going to catch a glance on this on the red side. I'm going to be taking a look at Chappie. Let's see Q's positioning.
But look, as he bumps back everyone from inside the pit, it also
was a double. Oh my goodness, that Blinding Light. Not only securing Burning the Aim, just throwing Chappie on the high ground, just stuck up there. Oh my God. That is the most fortunate Blinding Light ever, I'm pretty sure.
I think even Ake liked that one. Here, though, Empire, I mean, the way they just had to throw themselves into the pit, do you think that for them to even keep afloat in this game, they had to go in there and make that decision? I felt like after they were bumped out the first time, you may be like, okay, well, we can't really do this. But the way they were just so persistent, they make it feel like they just need it. But maybe inside their booth, they feel like that's what they needed to do. But now I feel like even a bigger deficit than they were at any point in this game.
Yeah, they didn't. To be fair, they didn't see the Coddle Ags until, you know, like almost last minute. But then FN ran in and committed. You know, he went for the full committed. So they felt that, you know, they feel the pressure. They're like, we need an Aegis. We need something to deal with this Slaughter Lifestealer. We just not able. Like the Venge isn't able to swap people in time. It's just the mobility from IG again, over and over again.
Here comes IG with the benefit of the extra life, bringing the pressure, top lane Ori pressure towards the tier 2. They get the mid lane nice and deep. They're going to sap and take away all that sweet, delicious farm in the nearby Empire jungle. And Empire are now going to be quite restricted here. They have one offensive ward out there, but they're going to be a bit in the dark as far as what's happening on their own home turf. So if they're looking to get out there, they may do it under the guise of a smoke setup play. We'll have to see.
It has to be a smoke. There's already a ward set up there. See if they're even wanting to contest this bottom tower. I don't think so.
Yeah, they're moving through the outskirts, but even IG could rotate up north there and just have a better high ground positioning near their shrine. But Chappie's like, no, the Ancients are down. Blinks to the low ground to rendezvous with the rest of his team, but they just seem a bit lost in the world at the moment.
The net worth still seems to be like relatively close. I know the Slaughter and the Coddle are pulling a bit farther ahead, so it's probably like 7,000 or so leading for IG, but it's still like not horrible for Empire. They're just not able to find their group of like 5 able to fight properly. Just IG always like manipulating the fight much better than them.
I mean, you lead in, you get a decent lengthy stun with a boulder smash and a magic mill up top. This troll could burst his way through maybe anyone in front of him. Yeah. But it is that support staff of IG you have to look out for. A quick Wyvern, a quick Crush.
Not even a 7K gold lead. It's only about 5,000 going for IG. So that's, you know, they still have a lot of potential gold coming out from Empire if they're able to grab some of these towers. But IG just always constantly on the aggression.
I don't know. I mean, now I'm looking at it. I'm seeing a Coddle slowly raise a net worth even above, ahead of the opposing offlaner.
Oh, Scan coming out. They do miss on the Crush for FN, but here we go. Burning's in.
He thinks he's manning up against a Slardar, but then Burning pops out, and suddenly FN just goes full man mode and just wipes out his extra life. But then OP steps in to make it a more fair fight, and he quickly gets a hold of FN and just takes him right out of the picture. A double kill for OP. FN felt good at the start of that one, but then the posse of IG showed up.
I really like the way that XXX played that. He was like, he could have just stunned and like kind of ran and kept like man fighting the troll, but they would have turned on him and killed him.
Yep.
Rather than that, he's like, yeah, Burning has Aegis, whatever. Burning can die here, it's okay. Coddle's gonna recall the Storm in, and then that mobility that we're talking about. Even though Empire are able to get a little bit on the aggression there, it's a reaction.
Yep. IG just reading the map, reading these fights so well. And back to the drawing board here if you're Empire now. These cores really grasping at straws for items. We see Necrophos, he's got the Blink Midas, and now Ag's done. If he's able to get a hold of him, they could burst enough with the power of the troll. They could send someone out of the game for quite a while, but getting a hold of him is going to be tricky. We already have acknowledged the tremendous amount of sustain and mobility that IG have here.
And they're getting to their very peak timings now. Orchid coming out for the Storm. He's got 17 Bloodstone charges, and he's level 18. So this could be a play now coming onto FN. We hear the recall coming out.
Yep. Looks like he pulls XSS and Burning to the top lane here.
It's daytime as well. They have vision of FN and King R and Ghostic. They even, I think they may have, no, the smoke actually came out right afterwards, but they did see 3 or 4 heroes in position, so they should be aware that a move might be happening here. Rolling in.
It's going to be Miposhka looking to cut someone off. They've spotted Q. He gets off the Glimmer Cape, and they're just going to have to let the old man go down. IG thought about stepping in, but there's just a lot of Empire members here, and they'll have to step off and just kind of hand the jungle over to them.
I think they're all right. They're okay with this. It's, you know, it's the Coddle.
Somehow made it away. I mean, I'd feel really low here for Empire, but they pose a threat, and IG do still respect it. And here they look to come back and claim their own jungle. You'll see the same thing happen here for IG. Has IG been able to pick up a gem yet? I'd imagine it's going to be something coming online soon enough when you already have that Agnum's Coddle. But he did go down recently, so it looks like they're going to hold it off for now. IG instead go back on the move. They get a smoke. They head down mid lane. We got backpack burning here for XXS as he just beelines it. Now he gets up a nice boulder smash, but he ends up rolling right into him. So, of course, he gets taken down immediately thereafter.
That day vision.
Yep. Unobstructed day vision from the Coddle means walking map hack nearly.
So they've got about a minute if they want to try to claim for this top tier 2. They should be able to. And you will probably see, like you mentioned, that gem being picked up for them quite shortly.
They drop a ward down, but it was under the watchful eye of Empire. It looks like they didn't bother checking or scouting out the high ground ward there, so Empire at least will get that bit of know-how. But at least till the near future, it is going to be IG pressuring. It's time to go in and finish out the final remaining tier 2, and then we're getting closer to Roche time if you're IG.
IG doesn't look like they... we see some pings coming out. It looked like some IG pings on that mid tower, so they do want to defend this one.
Oh,
Boca now setting up.
To the Shrine and to the tier 1. But Boca will slow down the wave himself first, but Empire won't stay.
Not wanting to give up anything at all. No map control that they want to give away for free.
Still
FN getting close to that BKB at least, so he'll have like one tool to be able to actually deal damage in the fights instead of just getting like mana leaked or blinding light and getting bursted down. But oh, I like this pickup from Burning next that he's going for.
Diffusal.
Since he's playing for this versus the Necro, he's going for the Diffusal so he can purge off the Ghost Shroud. Yeah,
that is vicious.
I think it's a very necessary item pickup.
Yep. Here, Empire will be able to kind of fend back off. Still unable to even get that mid-tier 1 down. It's been a very tough series for Empire to kind of take early game objectives. It just looks like effortless for a team like IG, and it always feels like a struggle for a team like Empire, but...
Yeah, it's like IG's always just like a couple seconds ahead of it when they were going for those like tower sieges as well. It's like they don't have that hesitation, it seems, where it's like some teams it's like, we like they already started like running back to kind of farm, and then it's like, oh wait, this guy's dead, we should be hitting the tower, or oh, we see the slaughter bottom, we should be hitting the tower.
Yeah.
IG's had like no hesitation whatsoever when they go for those type of tower sieges.
Could be into like who's calling the shots, like, you know, one team has a support who's able to keep their eyes on the map that much easier to scout out things like that. Whereas for other teams, maybe you have a core shot caller where they're kind of busy, obligated with their farms. They're itemizing, they don't really quite see the map as easy. Scan out on the Roche pit here, it looked like from Empire. Did get a bit of a read.
All right. Burning decides the Basher into the Abyssal Blade is probably going to be a little bit more important. He still has the Robe of the Magi, but he decided to just buy a full Basher for now. So he can, that's more so he can man fight the Troll. Diffusal so he can kill the Necro, Basher so he can man fight Troll. And I think the Necro is less of an issue right now compared to the Troll, as we saw before.
When Burning lost that Aegis, it was like, he's like, I can't do anything. Here though, Empire though.
Solar Crest online for Abaddon, Lotus Orb as well. So now he's going to have tools to remove not only the mana leak from himself and have the shield for somebody else, or vice versa, but also to remove the Orchid that they saw picked up by the Storm, which is very important.
Empire, they could consider round number 2 inside the pit. First round didn't go so well for him.
It's not quite daytime just yet. Coddle does have a gem on him, but about 2 minutes until day.
Scan was dish out there. They begin creeping in. Roche to just below half of his life. There goes Troll looking to commit the call. Are we going to see a fly-in? There goes the blast, lead and crush. OP not going to go inside the pit yet, but they are going to be able to blast them back and away. Will IG stay and fight, or will they turn and run? Lockdown on the Slardar, not quite enough to go for the finish. Burning pops out, looks to isolate the Wyvern ulti, will help get the finish. Now he goes for the next target. Unstoppable for OP as he finishes off another. Now has no more mana to work with. A chomp of the cheese. And Empire step away here. They take their Roche and they get to hold on.
They don't look like they're done.
Oh no! IG continue to chase. Get a wonderful crush and now look to go for Ghostic, who has to turn their attention away from the rest of Empire.
Oh, he gets his Midas off before he dies.
That's
what I was like, that's the win. Maybe he's trying to go for, oh, nope, Midas is up. Got to get that Midas up before you die.
He still doesn't have dieback, or buyback rather, but here come IG now. Thinking about a push into the high ground, or hoping to force out a buyback if the one was available here. A swap is forced out, but now Burning looking to move in. They blindly land him back and they get the finish. Q gone, 2 down from Empire here. And what could be for a final hurrah of the upper bracket? They get the silence grip, but the cold embrace. They keep an OP alive, man. They can't get him down. He's able to run back out and step away from trouble. Empire can't even get the one forgiving pickoff.
Oh my, and he's so low on life, he's going to TP back home. He can even get recalled if needed.
Yep.
And it looks like they're looking to keep this kind of aggression going. No fear from coming out from IG though. The Roche was cleaned up and they just go straight in again anyway.
Yep.
Just that, I mean, that mobility, it's pretty hard for them to really catch the Storm now with the amount of mana he has. Sure, they have like the lockdown from the Earth Spirit, and it's, I mean, the Venge, which is okay. It's not really, you know, not really the best versus Storm Spirit. And once he has this much mana, he's able to just like ping pong back and forth.
Yep.
And when this is, whereas there's this Lifestealer who's just chomping down your cores so fast, it's like, oh man. You have to make the decision of who you want to save and who you want to just let go.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that most of the supports are using all those great lockdown spells for more defensive measures just to save their cores in the trouble. That means that the Storm is even more free to go crazy or make it out from trouble, as seen there. But IG not looking to let up, regardless if this troll has the extra life. They feel there's blood in the water, and they want to go for the finish. They jump to the high ground. They do! Beautiful two-man catch right there from IG. And they're going to look to go for a third. Goshen gets off the borrowed time, but they are slowly looking to walk him home. But Poshka tries to help him out with the stun, but now they set him up as a sweet treat for later as they move in for the icy dessert. They get it done. IG, a recipe of disaster here for Empire. Did they have the vision? They had that deep ward still, and they committed right into the high ground and got that beautiful setup from XXS. This guy is just so wonderful on these initiating offlaners, man.
The deep ward and then the coddled day vision, just catching a glimpse of him too. XX gets a nice two-man crush with the Venge standing next to him too, so they can't even try to save the Necro. Necro just gets brought down instantly. This Slaughter Lifestealer Lifestealer combo is looking to be just way too powerful.
Forced in. XXS gets the crush. This kid is styling on him. Now they'll finally have to burn through the Aegis and some buybacks. This is a hard hit to the piggy bank for Empire, and IG recognize that. They just pull away knowing they're winning.
The aggressive force stabs. Always good to see people doing that. Does force the Aegis out, forces a buyback as well, yeah. Everything that you really want coming out for IG right now. Last few items going to be being picked up soon. BKB coming out for OP in a few minutes. 26 Bloodstone charges, 0 deaths on Storm.
Hell of a Storm game right now.
And they like kind of, I mean, pseudo dual laned him a bit in the early game too. He just resorted to the jungle, and then since then he's had very good positioning in the team fights and recognizing when he can and cannot just overcommit. Like that base was, you could say that was like a bit of an overcommit. He had like 200 HP, but just enough mana after the chakra to be able to get out.
Not a lot of answers for Empire to stop the blue man.
Yeah, it seems like us in the panel were talking about, the Venge pickup was nice because they'd be able to do that like kind of counter initiate thing where like the guy was getting focused to get swapped out, but we're not able to see that because it's like they're not able to get in the position. And again, it just comes down to, I mean, I'm just beating it to death, but the mobility. Mobility
is key. And vision. Worked out so well for IG in this one. Getting that early Ags, getting some great wards down. Early mana leak, bump back. Nice Lotus to remove it. Long jump in. And it's a spirit on spirit hate crime here. The Storm takes out Earth, trying to push out simply in the bottom lane. Earth knows that he has a buyback for any potential defense. He's just trying to give some breathing room here to Empire for what could be soon the final hurrah of their upper bracket run if they can't defend it here. Looking to stay alive, but they slide on in, looking to go for the Necro. A long swap save does come out, but they will get the quick burst finish onto Q. The buyback going to be forced there. Troll looking to move in, isolates, targets down, burning, getting jump them down, they can! With the help of the Scythe, they will get it done. They will get their own fire back though, finishing off the secondary support, but credit to Empire, taking out the big meaty target and burning on that push.
Perfect timing by FN's BKB there. So he wasn't able to get like pulled into the Winter's Curse. He's able to just focus down burning and get brought down. Those bashes.
More time on the clock for Empire now.
Also, it's a shame that you guys can't see Dakota right now because he was troll right now. He was literally beating the crap out of the desk.
They only give us one monitor and no computer. That's all. I have to charade it or something. IG recognizing and respecting Empire on their defense. Know that they'll have to wait a little bit longer before they'll be able to close this one out. 36 minutes in, 21-8 feels like a pretty heavy-handed advantage. But look at the credit to FN. Still holds highest net worth in the game. Overall, though, as you can see, wow, it is all IG on this one. 20K XP, 15K net worth.
The big pain for Empire is I'm just glancing at these two little supports at the bottom of the net worth. 1,700 for Arvenjana, 2,700 for poor Mipushko, having just much rougher game than his other Spirit performance.
Yeah, that's normally me in the pubs. Down there in the depths. Someone's got to do it, though. That clutch save kept Necro alive, kept Empire kicking.
Yeah. That time we saw it, finally.
Yeah.
We're like, nice, the Venge actually gets the swap off, and we just mentioned it. It's perfect.
Okay, though, it looks like IG ready to go back in. Round number 2, possibly. As the mid lane is getting forced on in. Credits to see the support staff IG holding strong. Devastation of that Wyvern ult set up appropriately.
Yeah, it's scary. Empire has to really watch their positioning.
Empire creeping out, though. Recognizing IG have made the sweep down to the bottom half of the lane. They take this quick window of time to try to move up, de-ward, ward down, do whatever they can. Warding up the high ground again, but IG's deeper ward scouts him. And look at Q, old man Q, he's like, I'll lead off the charge. Moves in, tries to go for a D-ward, but that's when Chappie jumps in. That's when OP jumps through the back lines. Moves in, gets the quick finish, taking out the Earth Spirit. Now he could be focused. He pops BKB and steps back, but they find a swap target.
Nice blinding light.
For Baboka. They separate with blinding light, and that's when they initiate. Look at the go for FN, and they get it with the burning bomb. Troll goes down. Follow-up's going to be there for Chappie, and they have no Troll or Chappie buyback. This looks to be it, and it is over. Empire to the lower bracket. IG managed to get it in game number 3. 30
Bloodstone charges. OP just going out of control in this game.
Damn.
Let's let them hear that. I hope that's picking up for you guys right now.
Everyone going crazy in the house right now for IG. Credit to Empire. They give him a strong fight. They'd make him go to a game 3, but that one pretty convincing. IG taking advantage of all the tools in their arsenal and their draft. But what would you say, man, the big tipping point? We give a lot of credit to a lot of things. The vision, we give a lot of credit to the mobility. What was it, though, really, for IG?
I think the mobility was the big one. Just being able to always choose fights, make the fights happen every single time. And it's Empire just kind of like reacting in a way. But then that Roche. I mean, that blinding light pushes Chappie onto the high ground, pushes the rest of them out of the pit. Burning walks in, gets lasted on Rose, grabs the Aegis, and then they just, even though they already had a pretty commanding force on that game already, that was just like making it even harder for Empire to really do anything, do any aggressive move.
Now Empire will have to fight their way out from that lower bracket. IG, though, move on, secure top 3 in a super hype series. Let's send it over to Paul and the panel to see their thoughts on it.
Yes, thank you very much, Dakota. Congratulations to IG. They also confirm a top 3 finish here at the Dota 2 Asia Championships 2017. Empire now have it all to do through the lower bracket. We're back with Purge, Capitalist, and Goz. Kevin, we'll start with you. In the end, IG have got there, but that was much harder than it should have been, surely.
Yeah, it made me lose a little confidence in them. I still think they played really well in the first game especially, but they definitely had some issues. I feel like this game was a little bit more dropped by Empire than it was IG played amazing. I think the Winter Wyvern had a phenomenal game. I think the Cuddle obviously had a phenomenal game as well. Mainly in this moment here, just really the most ridiculous blinding light I've ever seen. That it did two amazing things that were both perfect at the same time. It was pretty incredible. But I feel like in this fight, for example, Empire should have gone somewhere and used Reaper's Sight to kill him in, and then gone and take Roche, for example. But like that's something that Empire could have done potentially to put themselves on a good place. But after their good 10-minute start, they kind of just sat back and fell off a little bit. They didn't get proactive, getting things done on the map.
I agree with you, but I think then that goes, like, you look at their draft and you say, how do they go find a Reaper Scythe kill? They don't have that easy ganking tool that IG have. IG, Infest Ladder, easy pickoff. For Empire, their initiation is, like, their best initiation is a swap, but Venge, you don't really want Venge leading a smoke gank. Earth Spirit is unreliable until he has, like, a Blink Dagger, so they don't have that guaranteed way to get a Reaper kill.
I think that's exactly why Empire failed to execute their game plan, in that like they had to be the ones setting the pace. The fact that they did not claim that mid tower that whole entire game says so much about them. Like they should have been able to claim that mid tier 1 before the starter picked up his Blink Dagger. Like that's the kind of timing you're looking for. You shouldn't be forcing yourself to like look for some sort of like smoke initiation necessarily. You should already be determining the tempo of the game by pushing down towers and forcing IG to come to you in your strong team fight lineup that you were supposed to get with this sustained lineup between Necrophos and Abaddon.
Venge and Spirit both very ineffectual in that game.
They were great early game for sure. Like the early game from Empire was definitely played well, but yeah, late game the support output for IG was definitely better. I mean, almost every time Winter Wyvern ulted, that's a kill. Coddle as well made the Blinding Light made all of their cores less effective, and definitely the Slaughter Lifestealer combo felt really good this game. It was such a good solution to what the cores of Empire were.
I think Catch still goes, like, I mean, not just Slider Lifesteal, but the Storm. Like, look at all of the last 2 or 3 late game fights. Earth Spirit doesn't get to use a spell. Storm balls in on him, deletes one hero. Slider Lifesteal, they go on another, delete another. So there's no real option for Empire to guarantee kills in those fights outside of, like, getting, like, a really nice, like, Reaper Scythe at a good time. It was really difficult for them to execute their draft.
And almost every time they actually did go on somebody, he would get Cold Embrace, and they'd be like, well, all of our damage at this point is physical. Maybe I feel like Abaddon could have gone Radiance instead of going towards. I mean, he needed some armor to survive Slaughter, but
I liked his build because it was meant to counteract that initiation with the Solar Crest.
It just didn't pay off, though. I felt like it almost never was there in time. Like, Solar Cresting somebody when they're at 40% HP is borderline worthless, in my opinion.
All right, let's take a look at the scoreboard and check in with all of the stats from our third and final game of the second semi-final in the upper bracket. As you can see, it's not good reading if you're a Team Empire fan. Very poor games all round from them, but at the other side of things, yet again, OP putting in an absolutely astonishing performance on Storm Spirit. 10-0 and 11. I think Cap at one point, you said I think he was involved in 11 of the 12 first kills, I think?
No, it was like he had like 27 Bloodstone charges, right? So that means he was a part of 15 kills and did not die at that point, right? Like, that's really impressive. But again, I think that's like, if you're Empire, like, you were never supposed to get to that point. And I think that's why we're also, like, at least I was pessimistic about Empire for the reason that, like, nobody else is running a lineup like that, right? Nobody else is putting themselves on a timer of, like, okay, let's push, we hit these objectives at this certain time. Nobody else is doing that, right? So I didn't really feel confident about IG all of a sudden, or excuse me, Empire showing a change in the meta with this tournament is set so far.
Yeah, and the difficulty for them is that in a way, you're asking them to do something that they're not very comfortable at in the game as well. And that heavy kind of push early and aggressive get involved straight away didn't seem to fit them today. But yeah, in the group stages, we saw them do that. They're capable of doing it.
They're capable of being aggressive and taking more pickoff games, but I'm not sure if, like, putting herself in the timeline of like, team fight, like 5-man balling into towers and playing, you know, like, there's a much higher threshold, or I should say a much lower threshold for mistakes when you play a lineup like that. And that's why all these teams like these outs. That's why they like the versatility in their lineups that, you know, goes into late game. That's why, like, every single game we've seen so far on the main stage, right, has been whoever's had better late game
even in the groups
won.
As well. I think very few games were ending sub 30 minutes, weren't they?
Yeah. So I think there's, like, you had a very one-dimensional draft, and so you have to execute perfectly if you're going to give yourself that.
End of the day, I'm still blown away by Empire, though. Like,
they've had a great tournament, and they're still not out.
They're still not out. We looked at IG like this is maybe the second best team after OG. Empire just won a game 2 convincingly. Game 3, I'd say, despite how, like, that Roche mishap and everything, like, they were down 8 kills to like 20, it still felt very close. And, like, those team fights were on a razor's edge. Like, a couple of those cold embraces to save Reaper heroes, like, you used it very early, could have gone Empire's way if he was a bit slower on those. So I feel like Empire were very competitive in this series.
Yeah, going to be a dangerous team down in the lower bracket, and we'll find out who they play, of course, a little bit later on. Our next 4 matches are all from the lower bracket, all best of ones, do or die, stay or go home, and some of them have got a very long trip home indeed. So those are the 4 that are coming up next. We have got a social media Reddit thread going on right now. You can contribute to that if you would like to put up some more questions. We're going to take one more now. Abaddon 0% win rate low. Why do teams keep picking this? It's not always about the win rate, though, is it?
Well, viewers, because they're stupid. You're smarter than them.
What's the actual win rate, though? It's not 0, surely, right?
It is 0 right
now. That's hard to defend.
Does that include group stage?
Yes.
No way.
No way. Really?
Really?
Yeah. I got a feeling it is.
I feel like I've seen the hero lose a lot. I never feel like it's Abaddon's fault, but I always feel like, man, imagine if they had like they don't have catch. I think that's problem number 1 with Abaddon. Majority of offlaners that you need, like if you have a lineup without catch, it's so hard to play the mid game. It's so hard to make moves. You can't smoke gank easily. Like that game there highlights that. How do Empire find kills with Reaper? They have no one to initiate with. Meanwhile, there's Slada, there's Centaurs. Like these heroes just seem to offer something that Abaddon doesn't. Abaddon scales maybe better. He gets his Midas, gets Radiance.
I don't even feel like his items scale well. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
what item do you get on Abaddon that like is just changes the games? Oh, I can lower cooldown Octarine for my shields. Oh, at some point I get
It's
a Blink
not the
Dagger
same
so
as
I don't die.
Centaur, right?
Your team just
Yeah.
dies, like, and then you're just sitting there.
It seemed like kind
Your
of
Radiance.
the hero was like a flavor for a while because players forgot how to verse it a bit. Like it was like this flavor offlaner that everyone was like, man, this Abaddon hero is so annoying. You can't zone him, you can't beat him in lane, but just let him. It's like Viper. You let him win his lane. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think we were like, if you dial it back just a little bit, I think we were a little bit more we were a little bit more 5-manny in that regard, and so having really strong lane pressure heroes was really valuable. So you get like this Abaddon who would pick up like Helmet Dominator, and he would have this like constant presence in his lane. Whether he would actually be in lane or not, it would be his creep in lane. He would always be pushing out that lane, especially after he took the tier 1 tower. He'd leave a creep up there, right? So you have this constant pressure, like one lane is just controlled. And so at that point in time, like that feels really valuable when you've got the very early tier 1 tower down, when you don't even have to make a rotation. And in fact, Abaddon can make rotations to you and still keep that pressure in that lane. I think that like that's really good. But honestly, I think the biggest answer is the fact that these teams just aren't hiring stats people. So I think that's hubris on their part, you know? Like if they just had a stats person picking up Dota buff and seeing that 0% win rate, then maybe it would all be changed.
Maybe it's the Midas. Yeah, Midas and what do you go?
Was it MSS who tweeted out like, can these Abaddon stop buying Midas in my games or something?
The Midas into Radiance, maybe. But that game, did he need a Midas? I don't think so.
It's like a hero. It's like what item can you get? You can get like the drums. You can get
Like
the
Cap said,
Vlads.
get Helmet Dominator. That way you can pressure the map. It's actually
Yeah,
cheaper
but that got
than the
nerfed.
Midas.
It doesn't feel as good anymore. Like now you're more reliant on like the look of the creep or whatever you get.
It's slightly more expensive.
I would
it doesn't
almost-
give you as
I would
many
almost say
stats.
they
You
just,
can't get it
like-
versus Lifestealer really. You just infest, kills at 125 gold.
That's true.
At least I wouldn't want to get it against Lifestealer.
I would almost say you need to like actually literally just dial back patches and go for the old like sustain lineup on a ban and go mech, and then allow your Necrophos to be able to go like the Madara build and like Rod of Atos into Aghanims.
That's a better way to react to the Lifestealer bomb. You can't like shield and heal some guy when there's like 3 heroes clumped and like going crazy.
But ultimately, I think like we're finding like different ways for the same problem in the draft. Like I just don't think it fits.
Well, there you go then. That was a fairly lengthy answer to a very short question, but basically, he's rubbish. Who knew? We are going to take a break right now. We're going to refresh our panel and get some fresh blood in here as well as we head down into the lower bracket for 4 games. Stay tuned.